Welcome to Change Now, the world's largest event for the planet. My name is Emmanuel, and I'm your moderator in our pitch garden here today. This session is dedicated to inclusion, and we have 5 top innovators who are going to present to us today. We got lots to cover, but only 35 minutes. So let's jump straight in by hearing from our expert, Wenji Sampaio, the Global Program Director from Cartier's Women Initiative, and she's going to give us an introduction to our inspiring session. Wenji, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, and thank you, ChangeNOW, for creating the space for us to support this idea of diversity and inclusion, especially amongst innovators that are leveraging entrepreneurship or philanthropy for good. From jewelry to watchmaking to the external world, Cartier is probably viewed as a leading global luxury brand that has many times defined style with really timeless creation. And timelessness is really something that we're very focused on internally within Cartier. But to us internally within the people of Cartier, the story of Cartier is so much beyond that. And our founding spirit is one of open-mindedness and curiosity and the ability to see beauty in just about everything. And this affinity really fueled us in terms of the creation that we delivered to the world and what we are known to be for the last 200 years. Our story is about setting off on an adventure to the distant horizon, embracing rich diversity in every corners of the world and culture, and using that to inspire the creative energy that Cartier has within the Maison. And so fast forward 200 years to now, Cartier is a company that has 7,500 employees all around the world across 7 different regions, and we have presence in over 100 different countries. But what does that really mean in today's context and today's world when we are in midst of all of this conversation about diversity, equity, inclusion, and how does our values really matches up to that? The truth is, without diversity, equity, and inclusion, we wouldn't be able to uphold our values of open-mindedness, curiosity, and the ability to see beauty in everything. And really, the sense of creating a sense of belonging for everybody, both internally to Cartier and also externally to the world, is very, very important to us. And this has led us to many commitments among diversity, equity, and inclusion, including this fun job that I have to be an ambassador for diversity and equity and inclusion at Cartier. And as part of this initiative, we internally, for sure, have done many work internally reflecting on our own self, on whether we have created a culture and environment of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're pleased to share with you that 50% of our leadership is women. We have joined the Equal Pay Certification. We have joined the UN Women Empowerment Principle. And we have also hired our first diversity, equity, and inclusion director in starting out in the North American markets and hoping to reach the other markets as well. And we're continuing to do this work in diversity and inclusion and reflecting on our own work internally within the Maison as part of our strategic initiative for the overall company. Externally, this has led us to many outward-facing initiatives also to hopefully influence the community and society that we have a chance to work with. And this has led to, for example, the Cartier Women Initiative, but also us joining the Unstereotype Alliance of UN. And today, this is also an example of our work in trying to support diversity, equity, inclusion in the community by joining efforts with ChangeNOW. And so at Cartier, we hope that our support for the importance of diversity and inclusion will also be part of the timeless legacy that Cartier shares with the world, because this is actually the only way our creative energy will survive. I'm going to hand it back to you, Ignis. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wenji, for that beautiful presentation. And we're going to hear from our inspiring change makers in a moment. But first, I would love to actually introduce ourselves to the jury. And we're going to start with Giant Gersava. I'm going to give the floor to you to introduce yourself briefly. Ryan, are you here with us? No. Okay, well then we're going to go to Antoine Michel. Antoine, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, I'm Antoine Michel. I'm partner at Investir Plus. We are an impact fund based in Paris, France. We invest in startups with a high impact, both environmental or social. And these startups have to be based in France or Spain. And we are evergreen.
Thank you, Antoine. All right, we're going to go to Vincent Champerot. Vincent, over to you.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Vincent. I work for Emmanuel, which is the CVC fund of Malakoff Humanis. Malakoff Humanis is one of the major life and health insurer here in France.
Great, thank you, Vincent. And we're going to go to Alistair Marsden.
Hello, yeah, my name is Alistair Marsden. I am a director here at the Nova Group of Companies. We generally write the first check at pre-seed all the way through to Series B and have invested over 100 companies. My personal background, I started in clean energy, wind, solar, water, lucky enough to work on projects across the world. I've now moved from operator to investor into the dark side of investment. I'm really excited to be part of ChangeNOW and listen to some of these inspirational founders talk about some of their impactful companies. I was lucky enough to be on another panel yesterday, but my internet cut out, so I hope today that my internet will last the distance and I'll be able to see the whole thing.
Well, cross our fingers for you, Alistair. Thank you. All right, then I'm going to hand it over to Fatou Ndaya.
Hi, everyone. I'm Fatou. Thanks for having me today. As you know, women are the most affected by climate change, and actually 80% of displaced are women. On the other side, we have 92% of women who have an idea, a project that they don't dare to launch. We live in a world where we need women to take action and help create the world of tomorrow. My name is Fatou Ndiaye. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I spent 10 years overseas, and I was actually the head of trade for KPMG. But I decided to leave everything behind 2 years and a half ago to come back to France and start the first incubator based on barter. I really believe that everybody has resources to create startups, and it doesn't have to be about money. So I've led 100 entrepreneurs to start their own business by bartering their resources. What I realized is to barter, you need actually confidence. Unfortunately, today, women lack of confidence. And that's the reason why I started The Wonders. And The Wonders is an NGO that supports women and boosts their ambition so that we can facilitate the emergence of their own businesses and impact-driven businesses. So I've decided to help them by giving them the right connections, the right tools, but also by inspiring them. So I decided to create a program called 21 Challenges. And every week they receive a challenge, which is either personal or professional. I decided to push that even further by creating an AI-based mobile app that is going to send every week a challenge to those entrepreneurs to help boost first their ambition, their audacity, and their confidence, and at the same time giving them ways to upskill themselves. So
Wow.
They have to learn to create the podcast. Yes.
Thank you, Fatou. We're going to get some more time to dig in deeper, but thank you so much for that incredible introduction. We're going to also introduce Sarah Yannikostas. Over to you.
Thanks a lot, and thanks for having me today. I'm very excited to be here and be able to listen to all the exciting solutions presented. So very quickly, I am a director of new projects at Group SOS. The Group SOS is the biggest European social enterprise born 40 years ago in the middle of the AIDS year. And we support every year 2 million people who are vulnerable or in situation of precarity. And so at the Group SOS, I especially lead a big program working towards digital inclusion. So very excited to be here and listen to all the many projects. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And then we're going to hand over to our final jury member, who is Rosemay Lucotte. Over to you, Rosemay. Oh, we can't hear you. You might have to unmute.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Rosemay Lucotte. I'm one of the co-founder of ChangeNOW. I'm the COO of ChangeNOW, and I'm also a partner at 50 Partners Impact, so an accelerator specialized in impact entrepreneurship. So I'm super happy to be on that part of the screen right now, not in the backstage, but to attend this pitch session about inclusion. Well, inclusion is a really important part of the summit, and it's getting more and more important. I mean, we talk a lot about the environmental issue, but inclusion is just as much important if we want to build a sustainable world. And so I'm super happy that we have this panel today, and we have a full program on this. So I invite you also to you can click when you go on the program of the summit, you can select your topics. And so really I invite you also to select check all the program related to the inclusion.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rosemary, and thank you to all of you jury members. Very obvious, we have a very impressive jury panel here today. All right, I think we're ready to be inspired and hear some wonderful presentation about inclusion. And the first one I'd like to introduce is Richard Thickpenny, who is coming from Ashley Community and Housing Limited. Richard, I'm going to hand the floor over to you. Oh, you're also muted. This is just the universe we're living right now, so we have to unmute so we can hear each other.
Okay. Okay, this is everything set up. Well, welcome to ACH and the work that we're doing with refugees within primarily the UK, but with partners in Europe and also through delivery in Somaliland and Somalia. Next. Okay. What we've done within the UK is established really as integration experts. We've developed enough provision. We're turning over 5 million plus at the moment. We've got two main strands, one through accommodation and the other through community support. And what we've been doing over the last few years is really driving the research to create a range of services for successful integration. Next. At the heart of it, we're 85 staff strong. Our board members are well founded in the UK, and senior management team includes Fuad Mohammed, Chief Executive from a refugee background, and myself. I've worked with MasterCard Foundation, done impact entrepreneurship provision with themselves, and also work closely at the moment with Bayes Impact, who are providing the jobs fair at this ChangeNOW event. Next. Across all of our provision, we have a range of things that we're producing. So we're looking at all the way through essentially improving the quality of services and the systems around refugees, so that actually nobody's left behind, and we can sort of drive an agenda of people thriving rather than just surviving. Next. And at the heart of it, we're the voice of the community that we present. And currently, around entrepreneurship, we've secured £1.2 million worth of funds to provide support into the refugee communities within the UK. And we've recently won a Queen's Award for Enterprise for our actual approach to social mobility that this represents. And it's a vital piece of work, because every £10 or 10,000 increase in salary represents sort of 300 to 400k of additional lifetime earnings for the individual. But currently, we're restricted in the marketplace. Funding allows us to provide services for women and third country nationals. But while this meets immediate needs, it's very discriminatory. It means, for example, every time a refugee receives citizenship, they have to leave our support. We can offer a Swiss national support, but not a French national, unless that French national is legally recognised as female. So what we have is a sticking plaster approach, which is not scalable, inclusive, or high impact in any way, shape or form. So what we're looking at today with this presentation is the first steps towards creating an inclusive, sustainable social enterprise approach to offer business and financial services to the whole market, but with a focus on marginalised communities. Next slide. So there's a significant problem of the lack of financial products for those that we work with, and the next 3 years allows us to develop from a grant.
Richard?
Yep.
I am very sorry to time myself. I'm going to give you a couple of sentences just to wrap up,
okay.
But there will be also Q&A, so there'll be more time.
Okay.
Yes.
So what we're looking at through today is to transition from just business support through to business services, and to actually create a substantial loan funding pot around which we can build fintech and legal tech to support those we're working with. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Richard. And I'm so sorry to cut you off. Obviously, your work is super important to include refugees and making sure nobody's left behind. But there will be Q&A and there will be networking sessions. So thank you so much, Richard, for that presentation.
All right, thanks, Sam.
Thank you. All right, we're going to hand over to Grace Gichanga from Luma Law. Grace, I'm going to hand the floor over to you.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Grace, and I'm from Luma Law in South Africa. The truth is, most of us go through life without realizing how often we interact with the law, which is literally from the moment that you're born and you need a birth certificate to the moment that you die and you need a death certificate, and usually everything else in between. Next slide. Globally, at least 1.5 billion people have unmet justice needs every year. These usually show up as a lack of access to education, unfair labor practices, undocumentation. The list is endless. Our solution, rather, the problem that we have identified at Luma is that, next slide, please. The challenges that we've identified is that when it comes to the law, despite the fact that we interact with it so much, a lot of people just don't know what their rights are, how to enforce their rights, as well as unawareness of existing legal services, language and literacy barriers, because the law is not written for those that it's supposed to serve. It's rather written for those who practice within it. Opportunity costs of having to take time off work or transport costs, as well as the biggest one being a fear of engaging the formal legal system. Next slide, please. Our solution at Luma is a conversational legal chatbot that provides the user with information, basic legal information on what to do, how to do it, and when to do it by. We are available on familiar and accessible chat platforms such as Facebook, Messenger currently, and we're looking to go into WhatsApp. And the whole idea is to present people with a how-to guide of how to navigate themselves around the justice system, even if it's just to get them started, and then hand them over to lawyers should they need to consult. Next slide, please. This just shows by way of demonstration how a user would be able to come onto the bot. So this is an example of someone needing to claim unemployment insurance for maternity. The bot is very friendly in its tone. It communicates in very basic English, informing the user where they need to go, when they need to do it, input their claim, and the necessary documents that they'll need to actually enforce such a claim. Next slide, please. The market size in South Africa is quite large, and what we identified through Stats South Africa is at least 29 million people actually had a justice problem in the last 2 years for which they needed a solution. I'll just carry on. So our business model is a B2B and a B2C. Our B2B model is that we white label the bot for use by our corporate clients or social justice organizations for use by their beneficiaries or their subscribers. Our B2C model is that we charge users once they've gone through the bot, which is free. The users, if they need to speak to a lawyer to consult, they're then able to pay an affordable access fee to be able to consult with such a lawyer. Our traction to date has been that we have been able to white label the bot with our first corporate client, who is a legal insurance firm, and that has given us access to their 500,000 subscribers. On the other hand, both bots have been able to have 20,000 unique transactions, conversations to date. I see my time is up, but I've communicated most of what I wanted to say.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that heartful and engaging presentation, Grace. And like I said, there will definitely be some more time coming very soon. Okay, our next presenter will be Pranav Agarwal from Nymphaeus Labs. Pranav, I'm going to hand it over to you.
So, hi, I'm Pranav from Nymphaeus Labs. When I was 18, while spending sleepless nights being bitten by mosquitoes in India, I decided to take on the deadliest animal on the planet. Next. Almost 3.2 billion people are at risk of malaria, and this is only going to increase with climate change. Next, please. The WHO estimates that we need to invest no less than 82 billion euros by 2030 to eradicate this disease, and the treatment is only going to increase by 400 million euros a year on account of insecticide resistance. What's worse is the disease disproportionately affects women and children. So you see, spraying poison in water and air is an expensive affair. Next. And that's why we've developed Ripple, the first bio-inspired mosquito birth control solution under $10. You may know that mosquito larvae breed in stagnant water, but they need to come to the surface to breathe. And so Ripple, which is powered by a small solar-powered device, shakes the surface water to drown these larvae. Each device can prevent up to 100 infections. It's cheap enough to be put in any pond and needs no maintenance. Next, please. The Nymphia monitor is a separate device which listens for the characteristic buzz of each mosquito to identify its gender and species, and counts them and uploads them to our data platform. So any public health agency, development fund, or NGO who wants to know the effectiveness of their mosquito control can pay us to access our data platform. The Ripple by itself can be sold through retail channels or through CSR initiatives where companies want to protect their employees or local community. Next. This invention has been making ripples globally after Bill Gates endorsed it on social media, and just this month, we made it to Fast Company's list of best world-changing ideas. The invention, Ashish and I have a background in engineering and computer science. We're both MBA students from ESSEC Business School, and we're incubated at ESSEC Ventures, and we are lucky to have some great advisors. Next, please. Our goal is to protect 100 million people by 2025 and help save $3.5 billion in economic value. This is crucial for achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals of good health, no poverty, and reduced inequalities. We're bootstrapped now, and we're looking to raise 250,000 euros to conduct pilot projects through partners in South America, Brazil, and India. We cannot do this alone, and we hope you will join us to make this happen.
Thank you, Pranav. Very impressive. Who knew that bio-inspired birth control could tackle the world's most deadliest animal? Very impressive. All right, thank you. We're now going to head over to Emmanuel Agunse from the Makoko Dream. Emmanuel, the floor is yours. You might have to unmute yourself, Emmanuel, so that we can hear you.
All right.
Great.
All right, can you hear me? All right, so my name is Emmanuel Agunse. I'm the founder of the Makoko Dream. Makoko is a slum community, next slide, of approximately 300,000 people. Roughly half of the people live on water, and this community is known to have people living on stilts in the lagoon area in the heart of Lagos, Nigeria. And the problem that happens in this place is that they lack public water, electricity is a problem, the sewage system problem, and waste disposal. The residents are exposed to cholera, dysentery, and malaria. The Makoko indigenous live on less than $1 per day, and predominantly they are fishermen, and as such, most of the children are made to be forced into child labor by going with their parents to fish, which automatically affects the children because their childhoods are taken away from them. There's a high number of unemployed youths who need a means of livelihood and decent work, and most of them have never seen a world outside Makoko. It's really a phobia on land. So when I came into Makoko, I saw this thing and I said to myself, what can I do to help the parents, the children? And then we started with the schooling project, because as much as they are relegated to child labor at an early age, these ones have something they look forward to. Children who come to school, they look forward to something. And then we started. We found out that there are over 30,000 children out in school, and we decided to do something to reduce that number. And by 2016, the Makoko Dream was founded by myself and some other enthusiasts. And the idea was to reduce the number of out-of-school children in Nigeria. Nigeria has over 12 million out-of-school children, and we're looking at how to reduce that. We started with 105 students, moved to 200 students. Then we went on a project called Makoko Upgrade, because in this 21st century, we still had children that were using wooden slates, and we needed to upgrade them to books and things like that. We did a canoe that would serve as school buses to help the children go from one point to another. So with these problems comes something that's really interesting. We have children who were, there was a particular lady, Tinola, who was almost forced into early marriage because of the community. And we stepped in and ensured that Tinola's life was no longer a thing of the past. Right now, Tinola is in her secondary school, which is like the high school. And because we stepped in, she has a life for herself. We also have things where we expose the children to things like chess. Recently, there was a Chess in Slum initiative where these ones who were in this community participated in this chess competition. Imagine having the next gambit from Makoko. There are endless opportunities. We just need to ensure that this model works, and then we can propagate it to the next future. We've had several partners like Code for Africa, where we empowered several Makoko Dream girls.
Emmanuel, I need also you to wrap up.
I'm wrapping up right now. So with the Makoko Dream, we believe that every child counts, and these children, given the opportunities, will do very well. And we can have a prototype that can be used as something across several slum communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Yeah, I know 3 minutes is so short. I'm gonna hand over now to Yves Komme from Facil ET. Yves, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. My name is Yves Komme and I'm the Managing Director at Facility. As you're probably aware, next slide please, according to the World Health Organization, 25% of the world's population suffer from vision, motion or cognitive troubles that impair their access to online content. It simply means that you might have the most beautiful website ever. 1/4 of your potential audience will have difficulties to interact with it or understand it or even read it. Understanding this issue and fixing it is good for your business, but it's obviously more inclusive. Next slide, please. Facility was founded in 2018 in Limoges, France, and in Tokyo, Japan, to tackle this problem. Our solution was co-created in collaboration with worldwide renowned NGOs to answer the real needs of real people. Prior to its entry into market, 14,000 people have tested and approved what we were offering, and we keep on focusing on R&D to offer always more adaptations. Next, please. While keeping your original website and without touching its code, Facility is a global solution that will customize the way it appears on a user's screen with bigger fonts in case of low vision. Next. With larger click zones if you have like Parkinson's disease, for instance. Next. Or reading helps if you are dyslexic. Thousands of adaptations are available to provide a more inclusive, custom-made browsing experience going on in many ways beyond the existing international regulation. Next, please. Already more than 500,000 people use Facility to help them interact with those websites using our solutions. These go from banking groups, insurance companies, e-commerce website, media. The cities of Tokyo in Japan or New York City in the US use our solution to provide a more inclusive browsing experience to their users, and it's a global tool that can work in any language because the world is our market and there are no borders to foster e-inclusion and to help diversity. With Facility, it takes you all of 10 minutes to make your digital communication more open to a broader audience. It's also a very good help for you to improve your CSR impact, and before all, it makes your communication more inclusive. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Yves. And as you can see, time is really flying. So we only have about 4 minutes for Q&A. So what I propose that we're doing like a rapid fire Q&A. So quick questions for a jury member, short and concise answers for all of you. And then we can use the networking tables to dig deeper afterwards. All right, I'm going to open up the floor for the jury members and see who has the first question.
I can go first. So Alistair at Nova, I've got a question for Grace at Luma Law. I'm interested in the tech stack and where your IP sits and if you've got any patents.
So we are currently actually in a transitional phase. Our tech stack, we're moving more towards AWS, and that's largely because of the support that they've been able to show us. Unfortunately, I don't have an in-house dev team, so we've had to outsource that. Where does my IP sit? It sits in South Africa. There is scope to patent it outside, but for now, we're just working on building the algorithm and for South Africa, and then seeing where we can take that largely across the continent.
Great. Who would like to go next? Anyone else with a burning question?
We have a question for Pranav. What's the status of your product? Is it really, sorry, maybe I didn't get it, but is it already operational?
So we've developed like multiple prototypes and we've tested them ourselves, and this summer we hope to conduct 3 pilot tests in different countries with like 20 devices each. Yeah. Thanks.
I have another question for Yves at Facility. I'm interested in there's quite an already competitive market in accessibility and plugs-ins and all that side. So I'm interested in terms of your closest competition. What do they do that you don't, and what do you do that they don't?
So what we do is that the solution was really co-created with NGOs, so we really understand the real needs of the users. That's one thing. And in terms of adaptations that we provide that they don't, is we are very, very focused on cognitive issues. So we work, for instance, on autism, how to help autistic people access the web. We work on Alzheimer's disease. How can we help people who are losing their immediate memory to access the web? This is kind of things we do that they don't.
I'm going to sneak a quick question in, another one. So you say you have 700,000 users, but how many customers?
We have roughly 500 customers right now.
I'm in love with this pace. We could probably squeeze in one more question and answer. Is there anybody?
Okay,
No?
Just a question for Yves again. But you told us that you were in France and in Japan. How do you plan to scale abroad and worldwide? Because it's a digital solution, so you can be used anywhere.
Sure. I mentioned France and Japan, but we're also present in the US, in many European countries, in Russia. And so, yeah, it's actually people come and get us right now. So it's a very good way to scale up. And we are currently trying to raise roughly 2 million euros. So if you are interested.
I am.
Yeah. Great. And on that note, I do invite you all to go into chat and click on a networking table so you can continue digging deeper and get to know each other. And I want to thank you all. Thank you, Changemaker and Juror members, for your dedication to inclusion. And thank you all of you who have tuned in from all around the world. I hope you leave this session inspired and ready for action now. All right. I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.